All right, listen, everybody, we have some breaking news. Maine's Democratic Secretary of State has removed Trump from the presidential primary ballot. All right, so these states are stacking up, are they not, Dr. Carr? We have things that are in court, in process, in transition. We heard from Michigan, we heard from Colorado. What are your thoughts about this breaking news, sir?
Well, again, I love it, because this funky settler enterprise is going to have to be dismantled at some point anyway, and we're getting close to the test. And you know this, Kenneth. I mean, and certainly Lauren and a lot of the viewers know as well. The question of federalism is best supported by these white nationalists when it supports them. They're all about states' rights until they're not. You know, this is a question of the 14th Amendment. You know, as has been covered on this show, the third section of the 14th Amendment is very clear about who can and can't run, except it doesn't mention the presidency. There is a legal issue to be raised here. But of course, as we know, these are issues. Federal elections are the purview of the states. The states got to run the elections. So in Colorado, they did not remove Trump from this without legislation, without a law that said they had the power to do it. In Michigan, they didn't reach the issue of whether they could do it because they said in the primary, the party is able to select who they want. Now, the open question in Michigan, which they didn't get to, is if he makes it to the presidential election, do you have the authority? But all this stuff is governed by state statutes. Now, I haven't read the Maine statute, but what probably will be revealed is that the Maine statute gives the Maine government the authority to do this. So people are saying, you know, the Trumpsters are saying, they didn't take him off here, they didn't take him off here. No. It's a question of what's in the statute. Finally, John Roberts is losing his mind right now because
sure is.
You know what I'm saying? His funky little court is about to lose all legitimacy. I'm sure of the three, whether it be Ketanji Onyeka Brown Jackson or Sonia Sotomayor or Elena Kagan, Kagan is the one he's in the ear of because she's been the most unreliable on this question of trying to bring peace. I can't imagine when they rule on this, if they're not going to get a 9-0. Because Ketanji Brown Jackson seems to be the defender of the 14th Amendment. But there's no language on this. There's no decisions on this that I'm aware of. There's no rulings on this. If you are a person who has mounted insurrection and you are run president of the United States, can you be disqualified on a state ballot? That is the question John Roberts swears he never wants to answer. But because of this conflict of laws at the state level, he's going to have to answer it. And I cannot wait to read that opinion. I'm sure you can't either.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, waiting for January 4th, that's when paperwork will be filed, or that's the deadline for Trump to file that paperwork to determine this question as to what power the states have. He wants, Lauren, the Supreme Court to make this decision. What are your thoughts about what the Supreme Court can and should do in this situation?
You know, I don't know what they'll do, actually. I really have no idea. It is an interesting question of states' rights, though, and it's also an interesting question because even though I think certainly what he did, what happened there was certainly under the definition of treason, we do have to remember that Trump has actually not been convicted of anything yet. I know the 14th Amendment question is really about the treason question and not the conviction question, but I don't know what the court is going to do, but certainly this is going to come to a head in a huge way because every time there's a decision like this, his supporters do get to argue, whether we agree with it or not, that the question of, it's an ironic question in his case, that our democracy is sort of undone by the fact that we do not get the choice of having someone on the ballot because of this question. But again, the question has to be answered by somebody, and that would be the Supreme Court. I actually like the idea of him being on the ballot because I like knowing exactly who the fools are. You know, I want to know who is supporting this guy, how many people are supporting this guy, who in Congress continues to support this guy. And we don't get that unless he is on the ballot as a named candidate. So it's definitely a collision that is coming very quickly, and we're going to see the answer to it very soon.
And, you know, Dr. Carr, I agreed with Lauren in many ways in that let's just get him on the ballot because some people have been arguing that if you don't put him on the ballot, well, then if he's not, he's going to be fighting any type of vote or certification thereafter because his name was not on it. Put him on, get rid of this whole issue, and so that we can move the needle. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, politically, yes. But that means that we know that the rule of law in any society is a fiction, absent its ability to be consistently applied. We know that the 14th Amendment, we know why it was drafted, why it was passed, and how it has been used, particularly in what some people call the Second Reconstruction in the 1960s. But what's really on trial here, and Melanie said it earlier, talking about the Georgia case, what's really on trial here is the question of whether or not there is a rule of law in this country. The 14th Amendment is clear. In other words, this is why I don't expect Ketanji Brown Jackson to go with whatever they're going to try to cook up. Kagan will go, I think. Sotomayor, probably not. Ketanji Brown Jackson, absolutely not, because either the 14th Amendment means something or it doesn't. Now, Jack Smith, they trying to punt behind that because Smith is like, this man then said the president ain't no rules apply to him when it comes, and Roberts was able to dodge that bullet like the Matrix, but this one he can't dodge. I think there's a bigger issue here. Politically, I agree. I agree with y'all. Let's get it out in the open and have the fight. But if you don't have any rule of law that means anything, see, let me just end with this. See, what these white nationalists count on is the rest of us believing in the fiction that the law means something. Now, the minute we stop believing that, oh, baby. And this is what's at trial. If the 14th Amendment don't mean nothing, then let's fight.
Right.
Either it means or it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? The minute we walk, look, Langston Hughes said it, the Negro, meek and mild. Beware the day they change their minds. We all have been saying it don't mean nothing. Roberts is not sleeping at night because this is the case. This is the test.
And what terrible precedent that if we say that part doesn't mean anything, what about the other parts, the due process and the equal protection parts of the 14th Amendment? Why even go there? That just opens up the door. We've been believing in every other part of the 14th Amendment just up until now. And now switching everything. I think the Colorado case, for those of you who have not read it, it is interesting because Colorado had to make the case. Unlike the procedural issues that we didn't even get to the decision-making process in Michigan, in Colorado, there were facts. In Colorado, there was testimony. In Colorado, there was evidence, which is why they were able to make the decision that they did. Who wants the last word? I will leave it. Dr. Carr or Lauren, who wants the last word before we close? You're like, I'm done. Lauren?
Because Lauren wants to keep people up close. Go ahead, Lauren. Tell us what.
I don't know that we believe in the rest of the 14th Amendment. I mean, due process, I don't know that we believe in the Constitution. You know, you talk about freedom of religion and all that, and then I watch a member of Congress get censured because of their religion. So I'm not sure about what we believe in, what we really believe in when these members swear in and they swear to the Constitution and upholding the Constitution and all that. That gets really complicated. But, as we both know, I think, as we all know, the collision is coming. The moment of truth is coming on these questions very quickly.
Dr. Carr?
Well, John Roberts probably got that old Slick Rick song echoing in his head. It was the moment I feared. It was the moment I feared. This is going to make Bush versus Gore look like a throat clearing exercise.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
A new year for a new you. Curl Prep Natural Hair Solutions at curlprep.com is an amazing organic line for curls, locks, braids, twists, and even those wigs and extensions. Women, men, and children are loving this line. Look at this video and you be the judge. People line up to see this product in action at hair shows, and when they take a seat and try it, they don't believe it's their hair. Buy the products at curlprep.com. It works on all hair types. Use code Roland, that's ROLAND, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount. Parents, remove the ouch. You will love this system because you can comb the product through your child's hair with your fingers. Seasoned saints are loving the product. It's all at curlprep.com. Use code Roland, lowercase letters, to get a 15% discount. You won't believe it's your hair.